Hi, fabulous fourth grade readers. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of our online read aloud of our novel, The One and Only Ivan. We have received approval or rights to this educational read aloud from HarperCollins Publishing. Thank you so much to HarperCollins. We last left off, fourth graders, learning more about Ruby, the newest addition to the Big Top Mall. We know that her and Stella, of course, have the same shared domain now. We're learning a lot about Stella's life before the Big Top Mall, and we know that it was tragic or rather sad before she arrived. We left off, like I said, learning more about them. It looks like Stella and Ruby are connecting. One of the last things we read is that Stella looked happy with Ruby, and Ivan thought that together they were more fun to watch than anything that he has ever seen on his TV. So we are on page 83. If you don't have your novel with you, this would be a good spot to pause and run and get your book. If you have it ready to go, get cozy and comfy. Page 83, our chapter is called Home of the One and Only Ivan. Page 83. George and Mac are out by the highway. I can see them through one of my windows. They are next to each other on tall wooden ladders leaning against the billboard that tells the cars to stop and visit the one and only Ivan, mighty Silverback. George has a bucket and a long-handled broom. Mac has pieces of paper. He slaps one against the billboard. George dips the broom into the bucket. He wets the paper with the liquid from the bucket, and somehow the paper stays in place. They put up many pieces before they are done. When they climb down from the ladders, I see that they've added a picture of a little elephant to a billboard. The elephant has a lopsided smile. She's wearing a red hat, and her tail, curls like a pig's. She doesn't look like Ruby. She doesn't even look like an elephant. I've only known Ruby one day, and I could have drawn her better. Page 85, Art Lesson. Ruby asks a lot of questions. She says, Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? And can you get me one of those pink clouds that the humans are eating? Pause for a moment. Those pink clouds, let's think like if you're sometimes at the zoo, but a lot of times at a carnival or a fair, what might look like a pink cloud maybe attached to a stick or in a bag. You eat it, it's a super sweet treat. She's referring to cotton candy, right? When Ruby asks, what is that on your wall? I explain that it's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent, and the waterfall has no water, and the trees have no roots. I'm aware of that, I said. It's art, a picture made with paint. Do you know how to make art? Ruby asks. Yes, I do, I say, and I puff my chest up a little, just a little. I've always been an artist. I love drawing. Someone puffs up their chest. Usually they're proud of what they're going to say. Back to our reading, bottom of page 85. Why do you love it? Ruby asks. I paused. Never talked to anybody about this before. When I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Well, not always. Ruby scratches the back of her neck with her trunk. What do you draw, anyway? Bananas mostly, things in my domain. My drawings sell at the gift store for $25 a piece with a frame. What's a frame? Ruby asked. What's $1? And what's a gift store? I close my eyes. I'm a little sleepy, Ruby. Have you ever driven a truck? Ruby asks. I don't answer. Ivan, Ruby asks. Can Bob fly? A memory flashes past, surprising me. I think of my father, snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick I know to wake him. Perhaps, I realize, he wasn't really such a sound sleeper after all. Think back to why Ruby might be asking that question about Bob. Remember, she came from a circus experience and a lot of the animals did tricks. Probably means that there was a dog in her past experience that didn't actually fly, but maybe did high jumps or was launched with a parachute or jumped through hoops or maybe some burning hoops. And it helps Ivan to connect with some former memories that he has of the past with his dad. We'll learn more about that. Let's keep reading. Page 88, this chapter is called Treat. How's that foot, old girl? George asks Stella. Stella pokes her trunk between the bars. She inspects George's right shirt pocket for the treat he brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella's his favorite, but I don't mind. She's my favorite, too. Remember who George is for a moment here, right? George is Julia's dad, and he does the maintenance, or he's a custodian. Middle of page 88. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrated nudge with her trunk, and Julia giggles. Stella moves to George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. Nimbly, she removes it. Okay, picture what that might look like with an elephant trunk. What might they mean by nimbly? Okay, deliberately, but carefully, right? Gonna take that out of there as quick as she can. Mac walks past. Toilet's plugged up in the men's bathroom, he says. Big mess. I'll take care of it. George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, Mac, George says, George says, you might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. Darn thing never heals up right. Mac rubs his eyes. I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling the vet every time she sneezes. George strokes Stella's trunk. She inspects his pockets one more time, just in case. Sorry, girl, George says, as he watches Mac walk away. So we know there that George is concerned about Stella's foot and the fact that it might be infected. He's trying to get Mac's attention to get her some medical help from a veterinarian, or at least someone who might be able to take a look and see if she needs something to help her heal. And it really doesn't seem like Mac cares too much, does he? Mac does not seem to have a kind heart. We've talked a lot about how he is pretty much focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is money. Page 90, Elephant Jokes. Ivan? Bob? I blink. The dawn sky is a smudge of gray flecked with pink, like a picture drawn with 2 crayons. I can just make out Ruby in the shadows waving hello with her trunk. Are you awake? Ruby asks. We are now, says Bob. Aunt Stella's still asleep and I don't want to wake her because she said her foot was hurting, but I'm really, she pauses for a breath, really bored. Bob opens an eye. You know what I do when I'm bored? What? She asks eagerly. Bob closes his eye. I sleep. It's a little early, Ruby, I say. Well, I'm used to getting up early. Ruby wraps her trunk around one of our bars on the door. At my old circus, we always got up when it was still dark, and then we had breakfast and we walked in a circle, and then they'd change my feet up, and that really hurt. Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. Ivan? Ruby asks. Do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about elephants. Well, let's see. I heard Mac tell one once. I yawn. Oh, how can you tell that an elephant has been in the refrigerator? How? By the footprints in the butter. Ruby doesn't react. I sit up on my elbows, trying not to disturb Bob. Get it? What's a refrigerator? Ruby asks. It's a human thing, a cold box with a door. They put food inside. They put food in the door or food in the box, and is it a big box? Ruby asks, or a little box? I can see this is going to take a while, so I sit up all the way. Bob slides off, grumbling. I reach for my pencil, the one I snapped in half with my teeth. Here, I say, I'll draw you a picture of one. In the dim light, it takes me a minute to find a piece of paper Julia gave me. The page is a little damp and has a smear of something orange on it. I think it's from a tangerine. Remember, a tangerine is kind of like an orange. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil's not cooperating, but I do the best I can. By the time I'm done, the first streaks of morning sun have appeared in flashy cartoon colors. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies it intently, her head turned so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. Wow, you made that? Is this the thing you were telling me about before? Art? Sure is. I can draw all kinds of things. I'm especially good at fruit. Well, can you draw a banana right now? Ruby asks. Absolutely. I turn the paper over and sketch. Wow, Ruby says again in an awed voice when I hold up the page. It looks good enough to eat. She makes a happy, lilting sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird recalled from long ago, a tiny yellow bird with a voice like dancing water. Strange. I'd forgotten about that bird, how she would wake me every morning at dawn when I was still curled safely in my mother's nest. Ooh, he's making another connection to his past, isn't he? Bottom of page 94. It's a good feeling making Ruby laugh, so I draw another picture and another along the edges of the paper, an orange, a candy bar, a carrot. What are you two up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I asked. Just feeling my age, Stella says. I'm fine. Ivan's making me pictures, Ruby says. And he told me a joke. I really like Ivan, Aunt Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too, she says. Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asks. I heard it from Maggie. She was one of the giraffes in my old circus. Sure, I say. Goes like this. Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think, but I don't answer because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby, I reply. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. Good one, Ruby, I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. It's true, right? Other creatures and animals and even humans have babies, but they're not called baby elephants. They would be called, whatever that, like a baby duckling or a baby human. We're going to stop there, which means today we read through page 96. We're going to learn more about what happens to Stella. Does Mac cave in and get her help so that she can heal and feel better? Or does he not? And does he continue to only worry about making money, which will later possibly have a really negative effect on Stella? What happens next with Ruby? Do Ruby and Ivan continue to become better friends? And does she make more connections with Bob? We will have to find that out when we read next. Thank you so much for reading with me today. I miss you all, sending you love and hugs. Have a great day. Bye-bye.